Hey guys, welcome back to the Next Rank YouTube channel. It's Johnny and Jack, and today we're going to be answering a question that Jack gets a lot. I also want to know the answer to this question myself, and it was suggested by Wild from the Discord channel. We've got a YouTube video suggestion channel in the Discord, one for members, one for the public. So if you guys do want to suggest videos for this channel, you could do that in the Next Rank YouTube video ideas channel. So thank you, Wild, for this one. He says, I would like a YouTube video on how to get out of a slump as I am currently going through one. So Wild, let's see if we can get you out of your slump by talking about some ways that have worked for us in the past, mostly for Jack, but a couple for me as well. And yeah, let's get all of you guys out of any slumps that you might be in. But we're going to very quickly just say the obvious one, and that's to try changing car preset or settings. Be careful with these ones because some people do get addicted to this. They change the settings after every single goal that they concede. There's no way that that's actually a good idea, because now you're just slightly changing and modifying the way that the game plays for you. You don't want that. You want consistency. However, you know, just triggering that placebo effect can work if you do it at the right times and do it. You know, I don't know how many times you've done it, Jack. Yeah, I know lots of pros do it a lot. That doesn't necessarily mean it's a good thing.
Yeah.
But you need to find the balance, right?
Yeah, so with changing settings, changing card designs, we wanted to throw this one in quickly because it's a very easy one to do. Personally, I don't do this all too often. I usually just kind of have the mentality that it's purely what I'm doing that's wrong. And I find that a lot of players, because a lot of pros do this, by the way, a lot of pros change their settings a lot, especially when they're playing bad. And I find that it leads to kind of blaming other things. So I personally don't, I try to avoid it. However, I'm not like naive to the fact that it can help. You know, it definitely can help a lot of you if you're struggling. Let's say you're an Octane player, if you're struggling to play well, switch into Fennec. In fact, I actually did this a couple of years ago, 2.5 years ago, and then I never switched off Fennec again, basically. So that actually, I was playing badly and changed to the Fennec one day randomly just before a tournament, and then just never switched back because I was playing insane from it. So it can really help because there are differences in how you perceive certain cards, even if they're the same hitbox, like the Octane and Fennec. So yeah, same with camera settings, can really help. Even if it just gives you that confidence, that a little bit of placebo, like Johnny said, that you can attach that or like extract that confidence from somewhere and have a reason for it. Like you can with changing settings, change your car, can definitely help. So try that one out and see if it works for you.
Yeah, worth a go. Don't get addicted to it. We've got some better ideas, I think, for you to try alongside them. One of them is actually quite interesting, and this is one that you have, Jack, for us, is to do the opposite of what you think you should do in in-game situations. So you're going to need to explain this one a bit to me because you know, we're trying to help everybody get better at Rocket League, trying to help them be more mindful of what they're doing on the pitch, and trying to get them to start thinking instead of just autopiloting bad decisions. Now you're saying that getting out of a slump, or I really want to know the times you tried this. It's super interesting. It's helped you get out of a slump to just do the complete opposite. So what you're saying is you think maybe you should control a ball, and you're like, all right, I'm booming it. You think you should just shoot. All right, I'm gonna fake or whatever. So how active of a thought process is that, and when do you decide to actually implement this strategy?
So the first time I kind of tried this out, I remember I was really struggling to hit GC, and this was the old Grand Champ when it was like I think it was like Super Champ. Was the And I was struggling to hit GC for the first time, and basically what I ended up doing was I started to understand that I had the same play style and it just wasn't working. So why not try to change it? Now you can actively go into a game with like, okay, I'm going to play this way, and I did have those kind of thoughts, like I'm going to play closer to the play, I'm going to go for less risky shots, I'm going to conserve my boost more, maybe by going for a lot of power hits, making the opponents awkward with less boost than I would have before using more boost. Basically, I had those thoughts in my head, but also I kind of just went with the flow a little bit and understood that if I really think I need to control the ball in this instance, it's not been working before, let's, last second just boom it. And it's kind of like, if I'm not thinking about what I'm going to do, until right as I do it, the opponents might not either. And I know it sounds like a weird thought process, but it can basically just help you understand when it is good to do certain things and when it actually doesn't work. You might think that it's not, like Johnny said, like an active kind of thought process. You're just kind of, doing it and you're not really thinking too much. But it actually can lead you to thinking more about what you should be doing because you're actually breaking out of that autopilot, like you kind of alluded to there, Johnny. It's like it's a little bit of the opposite of what you think would happen from this thought process. And I've done it at really, really high rank as well. When I was playing bad, when I was just getting similar results in RCS over and over again, I would drastically change how I played the game. If I think I need to go back for 100 boost, no, I'm going to stick on 20 boost. It might feel awkward, but then you actually understand when you should be doing these things, when you shouldn't be doing these things. And you actually realize that a lot of situations aren't actually awkward, like in themselves. It's just you thinking that they're awkward that make you feel like you're not in the correct position, if that makes sense. So I find this one really, really strangely useful for me personally. Again, this is all my personal kind of like, what's helped me personally get out of slumps and stuff like that. It might not help everyone, but really give this a go. I think that you'll surprise yourself with this one. If, like Johnny said, the few things or the couple of things are mainly, if you think you should keep a ball close, try to boom it. If you think that you should take a shot, maybe go wide and try to just outplay an opponent before you take a shot too quickly. If you think that you should rotate all the way back on a full boost pad, maybe try and stick around on these small boost pads and get into the play a little bit quicker.
What about challenges? 'Cause I think this may be able to associate a link to challenges, and we've given advice in quite a lot of the next rank videos in the actual course about challenges. Some of them players are not confident to challenge, especially in 1v1. And I'm thinking this sounds like it'll relate to that a lot. You think you can't challenge, so you do. You just go. You think, oh, there's no way this challenge is going to work. They're going to see this coming. You just challenge anyway, just to find out. And this actually helped me. I didn't think of this until you've brought up this topic, but I didn't used to like challenging way back. I preferred to shadow and react and try to play off of what's actually happening. And then I just decided to make a switch. I don't even know when it was, but it's some time ago now, to just go for absolutely every ball, full on chase. And I found out so many more angles, so many more timings, so many more situations where you could actually successfully challenge the majority of the time. And it was working so well that I've now, to this day, I'm just a ball chaser. I just challenge everything. And it works a lot because I've challenged so many times instead of just shadowing and being passive. That now you just learn how to have success with that playstyle. Yeah,
no, definitely. I did the exact same. I actually remember I was champ 1 in 1s at the time. And I just never challenged. I just expected 1v1 to be like a game mode where I dribble at you, I take a flick. If you save my flick, you dribble at me, and I'll try to save your flick, and over and over again. And I would never challenge. So yeah, I did a similar thing. It's not exactly the same as what we're talking about. But it is similar. Just changing what you're doing. A lot of this video has and will be about changing what you're doing, because if you're in a slump, if you're doing things over and over again, you're drilling bad habits into your muscle memory. You need to break that, and that's what's making you play bad. So yeah, it's on a similar note to that, Johnny. So I like that.
Okay, we've got another one for you guys here, and it's a bit of a simple one again. It's just to take a break. Maybe play a different game mode. Maybe you just want to take a break from 1s or 2s or 3s, whatever it is you're playing. Play a different game mode. Maybe that will be different. Maybe you're just really not able to get into the right mindset of playing with random teammates, so just go play 1s, and maybe you just aren't in the 1s mindset. All right, go play with random teammates. It's again all about change. But yeah, there's not really too much to say about this one. It's quite simple. I'm sure a lot of you guys know this already. You can also take a break and play a different game entirely. Jack, that's a bit harder for you being a pro player, but I know sometimes you do just have to separate yourself from Rocket League even as a pro. But for those of us who aren't pros, you don't need to keep playing Rocket League. If you're not enjoying it, just switch game, come back to it later, maybe come back to it next week, maybe just go outside, get off the PC, go touch grass. Dead serious, that might actually help. But really, you're fine to, I think, you're fine to get a little bit tilted. and you know, maybe feel like you're in a little bit of a slump. It's not the end of the world if you're not a pro. It's all right if you're just playing to enjoy the game and have fun with your friends. But if it's getting to the point where you're seriously annoyed, then I think, yeah, that's where separating yourself from the game would be a good idea. You should not be annoyed in real life. If you're done playing Rocket League, you're not a professional player, you're just playing for fun, and then you're still annoyed because you lost a ranked game,
right?
And now you're just in real life and it's ruining your day, and I think that's a problem you need to address. But Jack, for the higher level players who are serious about, you know, really getting good and trying to put time in consistently to improve, you can't just stop as much. You can't just take a 2-week break or a month off mid-season. So what do you do? How do we apply this to pro play?
Yeah, so some players actually can take that long off, but it's a very, very small percent, and I wouldn't necessarily say that the average person can and just come back and be really, really good at the game. It really takes kind of some special players to be able to do stuff like that. But just take, you know, you're not going to get way worse at the game by taking a few days off, for example. You know, if you're a person that plays every day, if you're lucky enough to be able to, you know, play every day, like me, you know, you're not going to get a lot worse by taking a few days off, and people just naturally think that they will, you know, so it puts them off from doing that. But it gives you really, really, you know, a lot of benefits. You know, Rocket League is a very creative game, you know, maybe the most creative. Obviously, I'm biased towards that, but it's very, like, you have to be fluid. You have to make up what you're doing on the spot over and over and over again. You know, there's not a lot of strategy that you can pull off, like, before a game happens. It's all in the moment kind of thing. So I think that taking a break and then coming back, you're a little looser, you know, in the game. You're a little more creative. You're looking to actually outplay opponents. You're looking for the hard things to do because you want to just have fun again and have fun beating opponents to balls and making good plays. You're not just stuck in this mindset of what's my best, most efficient play I can do here to win this game. That can become a very dangerous mindset because it's like you're just then putting yourself in a little bit of a box and not trying new things. And yeah, when you take a break entirely or switch to a different game mode, it can help you, be a little more fluid and break out that box and try new things, which is actually going to push you to improve.
Okay, up next we've got another change, unsurprisingly, and this time it's going to be changing your free play /ranked /training routine. We actually have a video on the channel about free play and ranked and how to balance them and how to make the most out of both without, you know, burning out. You know, if you want to check that out in synergy with this video, we definitely recommend that you do that. But this one's mainly your wheelhouse, Jack. As someone who doesn't really free play, I just get a message saying, do you want to play Rocket League? And then I'm in Rocket League. I'm playing. No warm up. I'm just in there. Just, you know, just raw gaming. Just straight up. Just perfect excuse for the game 1 loss. But you've got no excuse. You've got 30 minutes of warm up or 20 or 2 hours of warm up. You're warming up right now. I mean, the guy's he's a menace. So when you say switching up your routine, what can you give us examples of you doing that, and also what you would suggest for our viewers? Yeah,
so I don't know if I can give examples of me doing it, because I think mainly it's more about like how much and what you're doing exactly in terms of, you know, free play, training packs, ranked. You know, the amount of time you're spending in these kind of different modes. So as a person that enjoys warming up for a long time, like an hour, if I'm in a massive slump, I might do the opposite. You know, I might actually try and not warm up for so long. Maybe, you know, you just want to break that habit of whatever you're doing, basically. So if you're someone that plays a lot of ranked in a week and not much free play, try to do the opposite for a few days. Okay, we're not talking long, just a few days. See if it works, right? Try to play a lot of free play. Don't play as much ranked. And again, vice versa. If you're someone that plays a lot of free play, not much ranked, play a lot of ranked, not much free play. Okay. It's just about, this is a very quick one. It's just about doing the opposite. You can go a little bit deeper, you know, in your free play. What exactly are you practicing? Are you just kind of autopiloting like me right now, kind of, you know, just going around and hitting the ball? And this can practice, it can help you practice like speed and, you know, how fluid you are and how quick you are at chaining certain things together. It is important to be able to do stuff like this, but it might not be good to do it all the time, especially when you're struggling with, you know, mechanics and you want to kind of focus on certain specifics. if you're like, if your shooting's really bad or you're just contact with the ball, which is generally really bad when you're in the slump, Johnny, maybe focusing more on, bounce dribbles and getting these like, small touches into power hits. It can be very important to be able to just make your contact good. So try to change different things depending on what you're struggling with in game at the time. And also, Johnny, we actually don't have this on our list. It kind of points to our last point, which is actually really important, and I definitely recommend you guys sticking around to the end to hear our last point. But this kind of ties into that. But make sure you understand that just because you're in a slump, it doesn't mean that everything is bad from your game, because you might hear what I just said about like try to practice in your free play and training what you're currently performing bad at, and you go, oh well, I'm in a slump, like I can't practice everything's bad. That's just not possible. You're not going to be doing absolutely everything terribly. So like really try to pinpoint exactly what is going wrong. Maybe try to practice it in free play. But the main point, again, like I was saying, is just kind of swapping the player you are in terms of how much you play free play, training packs, ranked. Try to swap that like completely and become the opposite player for a few days and see if it helps, because it can help you become more creative again. You're just doing new things that you're not used to, basically.
Yeah, there's an example of this in recent RLCS. I don't know about the Gen G win in North America, but certainly the GK win in EU. They've been very public about how little they practice compared to their usual prep for that event, and how little they even played Rocket League compared to their previous events where they had massive failures by comparison. So changing their routine, it definitely helped them there. Maybe gave them a little bit more composure during the event, because if you're grinding 10 hours every day, you kind of expect to be you put pressure on yourself to then queue up ranked with your mates and just dominate. And you get into a ranked game and you're terrible. You think, well, I just Omega suck, because I've put in 100 hours in the past week and I'm even worse than I was. And then your mate who didn't even play at all, they're peaking. They just look incredible. So try changing it up. Try switching it up. Maybe you're watching too many replays, replay reviews. Maybe you're playing too much solo. Maybe you're playing too much just only 3v3 your team. You're not playing enough solo. I think the variety will definitely keep it fresh. Another thing that's kind of tied to this is to remember that Rocket League is just a game. It's a bit cliche to put this one in here, but I think it is important. Rocket League's just a game. It's not life or death. MMR is not some end of year tax return that if you don't finish it on time, you don't hit your MMR goal, now you're just in the bin financially. No, it's fine. Like, you lose some MMR, big deal. It's a number on a video game on the internet. It's not the end of the world. And mistakes are actually funny. Like, Rocket League mistakes are funny. We like watching funny replays. Sometimes we're looking for replays to make videos in the next rank. We just see the funniest situations in games. We're having a laugh at them. And if you're playing Rocket League with your friends, it's very easy to laugh at mistakes. Well, maybe not very easy, but easier to laugh at mistakes. And if you can go into that to rank games, solo queue or playing with random teammates, if you can go into that mindset, you can find mistakes funny, even if you're losing MMR, even if you feel like you're in a slump. And sometimes it's just a law of averages. You just need to play a little bit more. Oh, there you go. Now you're on the win streak, and you weren't in fact slumping. You were just getting a bit depressed over your MMR going down, or starting the session 0-2 after warming up for an hour. Overreactions. You know what? And getting emotional.
I actually completely forgot that I did this like recently, maybe a few months ago, and I went up massively in MMR from it. I was in a big, slump, I guess, if you want to call it, in terms of MMR, and I was just losing games and for a couple of days. And then I just started I was just getting frustrated. Now, I'm not someone that really gets all too tilted, because I do what you said. I have a lot of fun with the game and have done over the years. I never really, before I was pro, I never really cared. I always cared about improving, but I was like, it's still a game. You know what I mean? I was fine with, making mistakes and stuff like that. And it's kind of carried on today. I'm still fine with it because I see a longer term kind of goal, I guess. But anyway, I was, the other month I was struggling, and I was just getting annoyed, and I just said, every goal that goes in for my team, if it's slightly my fault, like even if my opponent, even if my teammate, sorry, made most of the mistake, if it's
When you
slightly my
concede, you mean?
fault, yeah, if I concede, I'll just
Okay.
apologize. I'll just apologize in quick chat, and I'll always, basically, I said this as well. This is a very small thing. I'll always stay until the end of the game finishes. Like usually at pro play, like you'll forfeit and leave a match before like the end screen comes up. But I'll make sure to stay until the end. I'll say GG and then I'll leave. And I know that's like such like a
that's really good.
Jack, it could possibly not make a difference. Like you're a crazy guy. But like I swear, it just puts you in a decent mood. You're not taking as much like tilt from the games. You're being a little looser with it. You're being a little lighter.
Yeah.
You make sure your teammates not getting annoyed, so they're not playing badly. You know, because that can happen. You know, if you're being toxic in quick chat, or if you're not saying, you know, sorry if you make a mistake. It's the small things, but it can tilt your teammate. And I think it just puts you in a better mood, and it helps you win games. And then when you start to win a couple games from it, you're like, huh, maybe this works. And then you just gain confidence from it, and then you go on a massive win streak. That's what happened to me anyway. And I went up like, I remember like 300 MR up to like top 10 in the world in twos just from like,
just from saying sorry.
I swear, just from like at least the start of it. And then I obviously started playing better, and then I was just winning games because I was playing well. But like, it can help, or at least help me. So maybe try it out. That's a little a bit of a weird one, but yeah, try that out too. Try that too.
I love it. I mean, yeah, it makes sense. It's going to be, and you know, as easy as it is, I know that's going to be a difficult one for a lot of you guys who are watching this video to do, because it is hard. Yeah, hard to stick around at the end of the game and just, you know, see all the gloating of the opponents. And just, you know, it proves to yourself, and you train yourself to remember that it's just a game and the quick chat can't actually hurt you. But you can even use that in competition, I'm sure, Jack. I'm not sure if you've had experience with that in comp, where you can, you know, remember that it's just a game. Okay, you missed the ball and it's in your net in a tournament. Yes, now there might be money on the line, and there might be more prestige on the line, career on the line. Yeah, your whole life's work. But it's not actually life or death in that moment.
Right.
You know, you're not falling off the edge of a cliff. You know, because you'll get an adrenaline rush and you start panicking sometimes. Just everyone who's competed will understand what that's like. And, you know, calming yourself down, a lot of it is to do with just remembering that, you know, adrenaline rush is a biological response to a fight or flight situation. This is not a fight or flight situation. This is a competitive video game. It's a game. If you just remember that it's a game, then you're going to calm down. You're going to have an easier time controlling the adrenaline. My
mum actually always told me that like if you lose a game, like it's a game. No one's died from it, as morbid as it sounds. Like no one has died, and you're still healthy and stuff like that. And again, sounds cliche, but like that's kind of all that matters. And you know, it's very easy to say that in the moment, or easy to say it and harder to actually think that in the moment. But before tournaments, I do understand that like if I have a bad tournament, I always also think this: if I have a bad tournament, it's probably not the worst tournament I've had, and it's probably not the worst tournament I will have. You know what I mean? And that kind of allows me to take a little bit of the kind of pressure off myself from always performing at like right at the top, because you're just always going to have worse performances eventually. And I think that you have to give yourself a little bit of like what's the word? A little bit of comfort with that, I guess, or you know, leeway. Yeah. So I definitely like to think that too. It is useful.
Yeah, for sure. But all of you guys who are competing in high stakes situations, again, everything in this video, don't take it too far. You know, the whole like, just remember it's a game, and you know, it's not life or death. People can take that too far, and they're like, "Oh, I don't care. I'm too cool for school, and actually, I'm just going to throw this game and just start freestyling to show how little I care." That's just how cool I am. So you know, you take everything in the right context. We want to have that mindset, so we don't get tilted, so we don't cause a slump to occur. But we do actually want to try and win. We're competitive, even if it's just for MMR.
Definitely,
it's still ranked. You're being competitive. But anyway, let's move on to another one. And this is something I've heard you talk about before, Jack, but it's really important in this context, and that is to watch replays that have you playing well. Watch replays where
Yep.
you're winning, where you're scoring good goals, where you're just playing well in general. This is related to, of course, the fact that we can sometimes get bogged down with mistakes, and I'm so bad, and I've looked at all these lists of mistakes and all these things I'm trying to improve on, and none of it's working. So yeah, Jack, what have you got to say about this one?
Yeah, so the reason it's like not watch replays of how you're playing and figure out what you're doing wrong is because a lot of people, when they're in a slump, is like they have the most negative mindset I've ever seen in my life. Like they'll come into my Twitch chats and nothing is going right for them in game. Again, like I said earlier, they are adamant that like they are doing every single thing wrong, as wrong as they could. You know what I mean? So watching replays of how you're playing currently and trying to figure out exactly what's going wrong is going to be bad because you're going to notice everything you're doing wrong. Okay, so I recommend the opposite when you're in a slump of saving replays when you're playing well, having those replays saved. So when you're in a slump, you can go back and watch them, even when you're not in a slump, by the way, just as a side note, just watch them anyway, it helps a lot. But when you're in a slump, go back and watch them, and you'll see yourself playing good. Now, you can do this very, like, analytically, and just try to pinpoint exactly what you're doing well in the moment, but that can be a little hard. Even just having the replay up before you're about to, you know, play your game for the day, or, you know, how much you're playing before you warm up, whatever. Just watch this replay, watch a few replays of yourself playing well. You don't have to be too focused. Just seeing it subconsciously, yourself playing well, you will pick up things, and you will a bit kind of emulate it in the game and how you're playing when you go into ranked and free play and all that. So it can help a lot. It has helped me a ton in the past. Like I said, as a side note, even when I'm not playing really bad, sorry for the background noise. even when I'm not playing really bad, I will still watch myself playing very good because it can just help you get in the correct mindset and mood for the day. So I definitely recommend that a lot, and it can help you guys if you're playing in a bit of a slump.
All right, let's get through a few here at the end. We have we've as with all our videos here waffled for ages, but we've got just 3 more for you guys to help you get out of your slump. Which if you're still in it after all this time, all good. But one that is a quicker one is to remember that your teammates are probably human and that they are allowed to have bad games, bad minutes.
Yeah,
they're allowed to have a bad shot, a bad save attempt. They're allowed to backflip. We all do it. Everybody does it. They're allowed to miss the boost. It's all good. And trying to remember that if you're playing with a pre-made, like in a party, like right now, if Jack and I just queued ranked, number 1, we'd probably lose. Number 2, I'd play way worse than Jack's average teammates at his rank. But because he's deliberately put himself in that situation of queuing with me, he'd be whatever. I've done this. I already know we're gonna lose. I already know my teammate's gonna make mistakes, and that happens even when you're queuing with teammates at your rank. You give them so much more freedom to make mistakes. So you respect them. Your friend makes mistakes. You say no problem. Then you queue solo and you get angry at the first mistake in the first 15 seconds of a game, and you've already decided mentally that actually yes, the Rocket League gods hate you. They've given you this bad teammate on purpose, and this is the 10th bad teammate in a row, and it's impossible for you to win because of all of those things. And now you don't even make it to the second half of the game where your teammate was maybe going to play well because you've given up. So try to remember that your solo queue teammates are probably humans with brains. Most likely. So, although there is some evidence to counter that.
Sometimes. You should see my ranked teammates. No, I'm joking there. So that's the mentality that a lot of people have. It can help to break out of that. Like I said earlier, it's about that, being nice to your teammate in quick chat and stuff like that. It really can help everyone play better on your team and yourself. So yeah, definitely keep that in mind.
So yeah, let's just start giving our teammates the benefit of the doubt, because you never know. Maybe they're going to carry you in the second half of the game. So another pretty quick one, but a very interesting one. Jack, you threw this in here. You said that when you get out of a slump, try to identify potential causes for your exit of said slump. What helped you get out of it? Because when we realize we're in one, we're very much in the mindset of like, okay, how did we get in this situation? And now maybe we're not going to be best suited to figuring out that question. But when you exit a slump, now you're playing really well, much easier maybe to identify what we're doing well, what we're doing differently, and we might forget that over time and then end up in another slump. So Yeah, how important for you is it to realize in those moments where you're starting to get out of a bad patch of play or you reach a new height,
Yeah.
making notes or making mental notes of what you changed, what you did differently?
It's very important. You have to understand, because you're just going to understand yourself more as a person or player when you kind of take a little bit of time to identify this, or try to at least. And it's going to help you in the future. You have to understand what you did to start playing good again, to get out of bad periods, because they're always going to happen. You can't really avoid it, and you'll say, oh, Jack, I never see this pro player slumping. Like, they never slump. Well, they do, they just do it to a different level, or they edit it out. Yeah, if I in my YouTube videos, if I'm just like getting smashed in game one, probably just not putting game one in. I'll probably just restart the video in the next game. Oh, this is game one. Like, I'm not putting game one where I'm getting like 12-0'd, am I? Because one, who wants to watch that? And two, who do I want to, watch that for me? So
they're all going to say that they want to watch it.
I'm sure they do, but I don't want them to watch it anyway. So if it's game 2, game 3, sure. But game 1, absolutely not. So yeah, one, it can be edited out in content. But more so, my main point is that they just slump to different levels. The best player in the world, like, it might not look like they're slumping, but in their brain, they're going, I'm playing so bad right now. But it's just to a different level. Their version of playing really bad might still be able to get them top 10 in ranked. You know what I mean? So it's like, everyone slumps just to a different level. So you can't avoid it. You basically will never be able to avoid it. So trying to understand what you can do to get out of it once you get into it is more important than just completely trying to avoid it in general. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's easier to do that as well. It's very hard to kind of pinpoint exactly how to never slump, because I don't think anyone in the history of sports or games has ever managed to do it.
I've got one here, actually. I've got a thing that I do when I think I'm playing badly. I just stop trying to control the ball precisely. I just boom it more.
Yeah.
I just try and see if I can, because something you actually said it earlier, and it's true.
Yeah.
When players are playing badly, and this is definitely true for me, my power shots go out the window. I try and boom the ball, and it just trickles across the pitch. So then I really focus, if I think I'm playing badly, on getting the power back in my hits, because I'm thinking, okay, if I can't even hit the ball hard when I want to, then I'm not going to be able to do anything right. So let me just see if I can get back into that rhythm, and then once I've got the power shots back, it's crazy. A lot of other parts of the game just seem to come back as well.
Yeah. So we've talked a lot today, and I don't want to prolong this even more, but I will add quickly another point. It's not exactly about slumping, but it's similar to that point that you've just said, is that I do this in RCS. I understand and have done for a few years now. I realized that in RCS, like, no one is actually that good mechanically compared to what we see out of players in scrims, for example, in pro scrims. No one actually plays anywhere close to their like mechanical like peak for 90% of series in RCS. So I changed like a couple of years ago. I changed my like understanding of how to play RCS and just basically focused on the things I could really focus on and control myself, like positioning and stuff like that. And the reason I say this is because you can, when you're in a slump, you can basically play to your level and try to, like Johnny said, stop doing the things that are basically really hard. You know what I mean? Like, that you're just not able to do right now. It's understanding your capabilities, understanding your current level, and playing to it, and making yourself more comfortable with what you can currently do and control. So that is an actually quite a useful point. I think some people will be able to take things away from.
All right, and the last tip that we've got for this video is actually one that we intentionally left to last because it's a really good one. And yeah, Jack, you threw this one in here. I love it. It's to stop calling it a slump, because it's such a negative thing.
Yeah.
It just sounds like a really prolonged period of your life. No, it's slump month again.
Yeah. I hate it.
It doesn't really have to be. It's so negative. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. When somebody says that they're in a slump, you think, okay, that sounds pretty bad. That's like, what's that, 3 months, half a year?
Right.
So maybe if we stop calling it a slump and call it a bad game or a bad shot or something, or a bad day, if you want to take it that far. But that sounds so much more. So it sounds so much easier to get out of than a slump does. A slump sounds pretty pretty impossible to get out of. So I'm with you on that. I don't really I don't really say that I'm in a slump ever.
I don't think I do.
I'm quite a self-acclaimed bad player, so if I'm playing badly, I'm just like, this is actually quite on brand for me.
Right, right.
I miss it open net. I'm like, all good, I hit the crossbar. Like, yeah, that's just supposed to happen. So I don't really find too many like slumps in my Rocket League life. But I think I probably do avoid it, and I think about it by just not really blaming a slump. I just say, no, a bad shot. Yeah, that happens.
Yeah.
On to the next one.
Exactly. I think for me, it's like, I'm fine with having bad days. You know what I mean? And I'll call it a bad day. I played bad today. I might even go as far as I played bad this week, but that's because I have developed like a good enough mentality of like, it kind of doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really care if I obviously care. Sorry, I shouldn't say that, but I don't really like, I don't let it affect me too much, is what I should say, if I play bad for a week, because I understand it doesn't mean I'm going to play bad the next week, and that's the furthest I'll go, because I don't usually play bad for more than a week in a row, let's say. But like, if I'm playing bad one day, it's just a bad day. The next day is completely new. Like, I'm just going to hop onto the game, and I won't have remembered that I've been playing bad recently all too much. There might be some slight things in my mind. Of course, I'm not a robot, but like, I still treat it as a new day. You know what I mean? And I think that's important. The slump, the reason I put this in to this video, guys, is because I just see so much negativity from people asking me this question. It's like, they are actually, like I said earlier, they're the most negative people you could come across when they're in a slump, because it's like, nothing is going well. Like, I'm doing everything wrong. I'm in this slump. It's been about 17 years, and I'm like, the game's not even been out for 17 years. But no, I've been slumping for that long.
Again.
Yeah, like, they've been slumping for longer than they've been alive, and it's just like, okay, just let's chill out. Like, it brings too much negativity about. Speaking, to yourself in a bit of a nicer tone. Again, as cliche, as cringe as it sounds, it does help. So I think
that's a self-fulfilling prophecy as well, Jack.
Yes,
if you're speaking negatively, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, but if you speak positively, so is that.
Exactly.
So why would you want the bad prophecy? Right?
Exactly. Always pick the nicer version. Always be a little bit more comfortable and nicer to yourself. Anyway, I think that is 40 minutes or so of speaking about slumping in Rocket League. So I think, hopefully, there's going to be at least a couple of things, at least one or two things that can apply to you. Maybe not all of them, but I think all the points can at least apply to some people watching this. And I hope that you've gotten something out of this video. If you want to comment down below what has helped you the most, or what you think will help you the most, that would be really, really useful for us to understand. Or I just want to see it. I just want to see what helped you, and stuff like that. Make sure you drop a like to the video. Make sure you drop a sub to the channel. Check out all of our other videos. Check out the free course on thenextrank.com. Of course, check out the full course too. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.